Now it's time to tackle unboxing. This is one seriously big tire. That's a 27-inch tall tire. That's about the same size as a stock flat fender Jeep tire. A little narrower, but not by much. This is almost the same. It's got a rack here with a zipper up case. It's got like a little trunk. Let's see what this battery looks like. Nicely padded. We got a battery. That's a pretty hefty piece. 48 volt DC, 19.6 amp hour, 940.8 watt hour. So there's a pretty good chunk of energy right there. It's got keys apparently. Here we have the seat. Looks really comfy with a backrest and everything, adjustable. And our supplied wrench fits nicely. That's a nice little piece of threaded rod. I'm gonna save that for later. Keyed washer on the outside here to close up the circle. These also have flat spots on the washers. The flats fit nicely in the forks. This axle is going to actually have a lot of torque on it. This is a 750 watt motor, which is somewhere around 1 horsepower. That's a pretty good amount of power. It's all driven off these 2 flat spots. So you definitely need to make sure those are secure. You might even get to follow the torque specs. There we go. Now, I'm not a big fan of reading the manual on stuff, but you definitely want to on this one, because it brings up some stuff that I never would have thought of. Now, these pedals are pre-attached from the factory, and they said they are installed, but make sure they're tight. Went and grabbed it. These things are finger tight. Now, because they were installed, I never would have thought to look to see if they were loose, unless I had read that in the manual. There we go. Now these are tight. Now, this is definitely a large bike. Should be fun to try out. So the assembly part's done. Now we can put in a battery and see what happens when we turn it on. There we go. Apparently those keys are just for removing the battery. So in order to take this battery off the frame, you need a key to unlock it. I guess batteries probably are stolen, just like everything else. Let's hit the on button and see what happens. There we go. So let's see what we got in the dashboard. Battery gauge, showing full. Odometer, 0 miles. Speed, 0 miles an hour. Mode, eco. Then we have watts. I'm guessing this is about a power you're using. And then 1, that's your power assist setting, so you can change how much assist you're getting. That's headlights right there. We have a mechanical bell. That's the electric horn. The bell's better. Then we have arrows. All right, blinking on. We got the blinking going. So I'm gonna go hit the brakes. So bending the brakes is the first step. Yeah, my chain fell off. I was in the middle of bending the brakes and I lost my drive. I thought the chain just fell off the sprockets. It actually snapped. This is a chain that was supplied with the kit. It was brand new. And apparently can't handle the power of the motor that it was sent with. While I fix this, why don't you guys watch the bedding in the brake procedure on the Pro-Built bike. That one seems a lot sturdy. We should be good. I'm gonna take it for a spin now. Why don't you come along? All right, so we start pedaling here. Oh, there the motor's starting to hit. And we're off. Let's see how these work. This thing does surprisingly good. Let's try out the other one and see how that works. The one-wheel drive is not going to cut it here. Tires are too narrow. That one doesn't work in this situation. It was hard going, but by far better than any bicycle I ever driven. So this thing can be useful. I'm real happy with these things, both of them. I thought if you could see that tiny little strip of land going to the island, we were out there and we rode them all the way up here, uphill, dirt roads, washboard, no problem. Both of them worked fine. And even after all the sand work and everything, that one still says the battery's full. So these are going pretty good. They definitely have more range than I'm ever going to use in one shot. I'm never going to ride for much longer than this. I'm pretty impressed. I want to see the assembled running weight of both of these. So 127, we'll call it that. 109.5. This is the lighter one and has triple the power. The Addmotor bike gets this point.
The results were a lot closer than I expected. The M340 is definitely a better bike, but the DIY one has a lot of merit too.
Well, that's it for this video. I call it a wild success because my initial plan was to get my dad some transport that would go about double the speed at a reasonable manner, and I did that. With some cheap parts and leftover stuff I had lying around, I built this thing for very little money. And then, thanks to the people at Addmotor, we have a real nice one here. And it does the same thing, but better. Now the question there is, would I spend my own money to buy this? No. I wouldn't spend that much money to buy a car, never mind a bicycle. But that brings up an interesting point. Thinking of this as a bicycle is kind of a mistake. I've come to realize that this is a loophole. If you live in a city or one of those communities where golf carts are a viable option of transport, this could be a regular thing. You could just drive this for pretty much everything you want to do. But as a bonus, you're not just stuck to roads. You can go on paths where bicycles are allowed. You can go on state parks. You can go a lot of places where they say no motorized vehicles, but you can use this with a motor. And not only are you allowed to use this, people actually smile and wave and think polar bears are smiling at you. This has so much political correctness going for it. If you did the same things I did with this bike, with an ATC or something like that, you'd probably be arrested. But here, people smile at you and wave and think you're doing a great thing. So it actually lets you do things that you never thought possible. In fact, that tunnel I drove through with all the paintings, most of my family has never seen that because you can't get to it with any normal vehicle. But this one you can. Something I'd never realized before experiencing this thing, but it's something to think about. And this could be an option for some people. I started off trying to get my dad to go a little faster, and I doubled the speed for cheap. Then I quadrupled the speed thanks to Addmotor, which is scientific proof that I'm now having 4 times as much fun as I was at the beginning of this video. I hope you guys are having 4 times as much fun too, and we'll see you next time. It's been 3 days. Tire's still holding air. So I'm going to call that fix a win.